right. Well, today, man, we got a real special guest. I mean, I think special, the word doesn't even cut it. I just want to introduce our special guest, J.R. McKee, Grammy Award winning music exec. Man, how are you doing today, J.R.?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on. I feel great. I feel
Yeah,
honored.
man. Cool. I definitely appreciate you, taking some time out to show some love and help, give your insights to up and coming artists and just fans of music in general. Wanted to just start off by asking you, I mean, is music exec the right way to identify J.R. McKee, or do you have another way of kind of or you would describe yourself in a different way? Because I feel like music exec can be kind of general in a sense,
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think music is that covers like the realm of it sort of embodies everything that goes into what I've done for the last 20 years. Because, you can say A&R, you can say, label owner, CEO, you can say, streaming executive. Um, I mean, there's a lot of different titles you could put on it. But overall, I just look at myself for my last 20 years as just, I almost feel like an entrepreneurial artist. Like I think like
know?
that's how I look back over my last 20 years, and I think, okay, that's what I was. I was an entrepreneurial artist in the music business.
Well, that's a good way to put it. I mean, I think you can put it the right way. So I'm glad
Yeah.
you put that out there. So yeah, I mean, in terms of you know who you are and what you do, I mean, I think we kind of have an idea of what you do and what your kind of background is. So what would you feel like is your best skill as a music exec? Like, what if you had to choose one? What would you say? That's that one thing that J.R. McKee is known for and he's best at.
I think it's a difference between known for and best at. You know what I mean? Because I don't
Hmm.
know how people view me. You know what I mean? So I have some ideas, but I don't know for sure how they view me. Best at, I think that I was best at consistency. I think that's what I was best at in the last 20 years. Just showing up every single day and working on a puzzle until that puzzle is solved. Because to me, that's what breaking artists is. Breaking artists is just you're given this puzzle and you have to solve it. And so I think I'm best at showing up and working on that puzzle every single day. That's what I'm best at.
Okay, so you're a problem solver. I mean, whatever comes
Yeah,
in the way, you're gonna figure it out.
exactly, exactly.
Well, yeah, that's the type of people I like to be around. uh, Cool. Well, I mean, I'm going to go straight into it. I believe, you won a Grammy recently,
Mm,
and I believe it's in 2022, right? Or is it 2021?
23. It was 23.
Oh, 2023. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
because we just
there
had
we go.
24 Grammys, and so we won last year, 23. Yeah.
Gotcha. And the song is Hours and
The
Hours by Money
hours and
Long.
hours.
Is that
Yep.
right?
Yes, yes, sir. That's
Perfect.
correct.
Cool. Well, first of all, congrats. And then, I want you to just touch on what your involvement was with that song and with the artist. So people can have a better idea of, you don't have to be the artist to be a Grammy Award, winning person,
Yeah.
right?
So Hours and Hours is by Money Long. And so I first got introduced to Money Long in, I want to say, 2020. They told me, she's a songwriter that's looking to become an artist. I already knew of her as a songwriter. Her early days in songwriting was my early days in A&R. And so we had crossed paths long ago when I was just a child. I was like young 20s. We had crossed
Mm,
paths. But they said, hey, Priscilla wants to be an artist now. And so, I looked at the situation. I said, oh, cool, I'll consult on it. And so I helped her not put together her first EP, but I helped her roll out her first EP.
mm.
But from that process, I said, man, I really believe in her. Like, I think she's amazing. She's phenomenal. And they had been going around looking for deals and no one wanted to sign her. And so I said, well, hey, I'm starting a new imprint. Maybe we can partner. And so we did our partnership. And this was May of 2021. And then, of course, as many people know, by the end of that year, December of 2021, we had the #1 song in the world, Hours and Hours. My involvement more so in the songs to get deeper into it. Obviously, like I said, we were in a partnership, but um, I didn't have any involvement with the creation of the song. She sent us a song. It was already done. I was involved in A&R with her. Like I would send her beats. I would, work in the studio with her. I would even write some songs with her. Of course, not that she needed it, but we're just two artists in the studio. So of course we're going to make
Mm,
art. And so Hours and Hours was a song that she did completely on her own. She was such a hungry artist, like we
mm,
were already had studio sessions. We already had a bunch of beats, but she was still at home searching YouTube, making records. And so that's how she found Hours and Hours beat on YouTube. She made the record. And we got it when the EP was pretty much already done. All we had to do was sequence it. I do believe I sequenced that EP. And then from there, we dropped it. And it was literally 2 days after we dropped it that I saw the analytics and I said, oh, this is a hit record.
mm.
I knew it was a hit record based on the analytics solely. Like I looked at the daily streaming charts.
Yep.
So normally when you put a song out, day one is going to be its peak, and then from there it's going to slowly go down. That's just the normal way streaming works. But Hours and Hours, it didn't go down the second day; it went up, and so that was all the sign I needed. That was like, okay, well that's a hit. Like that doesn't happen. Like 99.9999% of the time, the song goes down. Anytime you see a song go up the second day, you should automatically know like there's something very special about this record. And so I recognized it on day two,
Mm,
made some adjustments to our plan. We had all of our videos already shot. So instead of putting out the video we intended to put out, we put out the Hours and Hours video because Hours and Hours wasn't a single. It's just a song on the EP. But once I saw that, I said, okay, now we're going to put this video out instead. So that Monday, we put that video out. And then from there, just recognizing the potential of a trend. So I saw a couple that we knew they made a video to Hours and Hours, just sort of showcasing their love. And when I saw the video, I knew I was like, okay, this could be a trend. Like this is easy. This is something everybody can copy. You just go on your phone, put together all the cute videos of you and your spouse or et cetera, and you post it. And so literally when I seen that video of them, I went to every influential person I knew and I said, hey, can you copy this video? Can you make a video like this? Or every influential person that I knew was in a relationship, I should say.
mm.
I got them all to make a video, and from there, all the normal users start making it because they saw the influential people making it. And from there, it was just history. That probably was about from the day I saw their video to the day we were #1, probably couldn't have been no more than 3 weeks.
Damn. Damn.
Yeah.
That is wild. That is wild. So when you noticed the first day, or after the first day, it kept going, the streams
Yeah.
kept going up, right?
Right.
Now, would you say you had two plans in place already before you found
Yeah, I
out that
did have plans in
information?
place. Yeah, the plan was to drop, I believe, the Time Machine video because the Time Machine was the single we picked off the record. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And as an A&R and as just anybody in the music business, you can have what you think a hit is a hit, and then you can have what the people say. And so the people, they say Hours and Hours, but we thought Time Machine was going to be the single off the record. We put the EP out on Wednesday. This is because one of my general rules was if I'm not competing for charting position, there's no need to drop what everybody else that's competing for charting position on Friday. I might as well
mm.
drop my own lane on Wednesday. So we put the EP out on Wednesday. And by Saturday is when I knew Hours and Hours was a hit because that's when I saw that day two data on Saturday. And so Saturday I made the decision we're not putting out Time Machine on Monday. We're going to put out Hours and Hours on Monday. Yeah, so we had our plan already in place.
Dope. Dope. I mean, that's some definitely good information.
Yeah,
Like I said, I pay attention to what you've been rolling out in terms of, educational stuff that you've been putting out, and yeah, there's definitely, if you guys don't know what J.R. McKee is doing in terms of putting out content and courses and things like that for musicians, definitely check out, go to jrmckee.co. Is that the right
yeah,
website?
JRMcKee.co. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and definitely check out his content. There's a lot of game he's putting out, and that's coming from a Grammy-winning exec. So You guys might want to check that out when you get a chance. Um, so why do you think people really connected, with the song? I mean, do you think it's truly the song itself, or you think it's a combination of the song being great and also with the push that
Well,
the strategy and the push?
yeah. So yes, it's the song being great. Like that's the number one factor to the longevity this song is going to have. I mean, here we are 3 years later talking about it, because we put it out in 21 and here we
Mhm.
are in 24 talking about it. But, this is a song that 30 years later, they're going to talk about this song. It's a classic record. And that's solely based on the song itself. It won a Grammy based on that. Like, it didn't have anything to do with trends or anything. Like, the Grammy was based on the performance of the song, her performance on the song. That's the Grammy we won, best performance. And so the song itself is masterful, right? She's
Mhm.
one of the greatest writers in music history. And you can, sort of fact check that by the numbers. You know what I mean? So she's one of the greatest writers. So the song itself was masterful. I think, our part to play in it was more so getting it the exposure it needed because there are tons of hits on DSPs that people just have never heard.
Mhm.
You have to get exposed, you have to get eyeballs and ears for it to become a hit. And so, you know, we did a masterful job of making sure the world knew that that song existed. And then the song did the rest.
Gotcha. So the song definitely played a major part. You said it's pretty much it's the number one ingredient, right? I mean, in this case, it's definitely the
Yeah.
number one ingredient.
Well,
Um,
well, yeah, I think that, because of the way TikTok is built and because of the way that we follow trends, you can have a song that's terrible, get tons of ears and eyeballs, but the longevity of the song is going to be based on how well or how good the song is. So, I've had songs that we've, had big trends to that went gold, and I've had songs that we had big trends to go multi-platinum. And the only difference is the quality of the song. The quality of the song is the reason that why this song is only gold and this one is triple platinum, you know? And so it does come down to the song in the end. But you can have a huge trend and the song be terrible. That happens all the time.
I hear that. Um, Now, did you have any involvement with, say the cover art or song title and things like that, or that was just all up to
No, no,
the
that
artist?
that was that was P. She did the title to the song. She also, or at least maybe her management. I'm not sure who set up that photo shoot. That photo is I loved it though. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. But yeah, so I don't know who set up the photo shoot. I did help pick like the final cover. I was a part of that process, but it was
Mm,
really just based off the photo itself. And I don't know who put that photo shoot together. But that's like it's only a great team if you're not doing everything. Like some people have to be responsible for other things, and her
right.
management and her did a great job with that photo shoot. That picture is amazing. Cover is amazing. And then song title, that's her. Um, the only thing I had to do with that song, as far as like the song itself, was just the sequencing of the EP, which is still very important. But I didn't have anything to do with the actual song.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about cover art these days? I mean, is it still important, or do you really feel like because everybody is saying, I mean, from what I'm hearing, people are saying, cover art is no longer a thing. You can literally just go find some random picture and just put, you know what I mean, edit it and put it up.
Oh, my only thing about the cover art, my biggest thing about the cover art is just making sure your face is on it. Because if this song's blows up, you want people to know who did the song. And if your face is on it, they'll never recognize you. You can walk through the mall unrecognizable because you didn't put your face on the cover of your hit song. And so I always want to make sure our face is on the cover. Other than that, it's just another way of expressing creativity. Like Party Next Door's cover just went viral. What's her name? Doja Cat's cover just went viral. And so anytime you can garner attention, whatever way you can, why not take advantage of that? So you just make a normal cover art, doesn't get any attention, that's you kind of miss the opportunity. And so like literally in the last 3 days, I've seen two cover arts go viral. And so it's like,
Mm.
take advantage of that opportunity.
So okay. So basically, you're saying cover art is another way to just put
Yeah,
yourself out there and a chance for you to
exactly.
go viral.
Exactly. Now that's rare, but so are hit songs. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you gotta keep swinging.
Gotcha. So would you say your rule of thumb for cover art is make sure your face is clearly
Yeah,
shown on it so you can get the
on the cover.
exposure from it?
Exactly. That's probably the only thing that I really emphasize. Other than that, I'm all for the creativity, but I definitely want, your face on there, especially as a new until you break, until like everybody knows what you look like.
Hmm.
Then it's like, no, you put your face on that cover.
That's a gem right there. I mean, I never thought of it that way, but I think coming from a veteran like yourself, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah.
Um, so what does hours and hours mean to you? I mean, what does that title mean to you? What does a song mean to you?
Uh, I mean, it's a song that I'm, just grateful for. You know what I mean? Like again, when the song before the song came out, I heard the song plenty of times, and I never imagined it would be, what it turned out to be. The only person who inside of our team who did see it was Jasmine, who was our head of content, and she saw it because she teased all the music from the EP, most of the music from the EP. And she was telling us every time she posted hours and hours, the reaction was so much higher. Like I talk about outliers all the time. Like
Mhm.
and she was saying the reaction was so much higher. So she was the only one who sort of foresaw. And then of course, outside of our team, the DSPs foresaw it. Because when I play all the DSPs, the project before it came out. And I told them Time Machine was the single we were focusing on. Well, the day the project came out, every DSP had hours and hours playlisted. So everybody who worked inside DSPs, they knew too. They
Wow.
they heard it and was like, oh no, this is even though we told them playlist Time Machine, they playlist hours and hours. And so people saw it. I didn't necessarily see it. But once it became what it became, well, even before in the process of it becoming what it was going to become, I listened to it and I kind of was like, man, how did I miss that? Like this song is
Mm.
freaking incredible. Like, how did I miss how incredible this song was? And so yeah.
So I guess that to that point, I mean, that shows the importance of teasing your song. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, because somebody did recognize inside of our team that that song was going to be special, and so that wouldn't have happened had we not teased it. But yeah, like you want to tease all your songs because you want to figure out which one you should be focusing on. And so had I went off of what the head of content said, I would have picked the right song.
Gotcha. So you guys were teasing the song before it was out on any platforms.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. Now do you have a favorite part or favorite lyric from that song?
Hours and hours.
Yeah.
So crazy because it's like the only song stuck in my head right now is "Made for Me." So I can't even remember. Let me think back to hours and hours. I mean, of course the first verse because that's what we used. Um, now I'm trying to think like how the first verse starts, but we used the first verse and we used it. We got as much as we could out of it, and then we switched to the second verse. But yeah, however the first verse starts, that's what we use to break the song, and so that would be my favorite part.
Okay. So the first verse was your favorite and also what you guys used to did you guys use that to tease the song also?
I'm not sure, but I know that's what we used to break it. Like I know that was the part that we used for the trend.
Got it. Now, in terms of, I know you mentioned, you helped roll out the song and things like that. Would you say rolling out a project, a song is an art in itself? Or even just the marketing, would you consider that an art in your eyes?
I mean, rollouts are very important. Marketing is very. At the end of the day, like I think kind of rollout and marketing are kind of one and the same in the sense that they're both a plan.
Hmm.
So my biggest value system is just having a plan in place. Period. whether it be for a rollout or whether it be post release, like just having a plan in place. You know what I mean? That to me is the most important thing. Even marketing, when I say, okay, I have this new single, how am I going to market it? I'm coming up with a plan. You know what I mean? Like my marketing plan. And so to me, you know, when I look back over my career, every single time that we sort of struck it big, it was always in the midst of working a plan. You know what I mean? We came up with a plan and we were working that plan. And it's never, none of the times was it we went 100% according to the plan and it worked. It was always just in the middle of the plan, we saw an opportunity and then executed on that opportunity. And so it's like the plan just puts you in the right place. You know what I mean? And so to me, planning is the biggest key to winning.
Got it. Now, when it comes to marketing and promoting the song, would you say, was there anything that, like one key thing or tactic or anything or campaign that you did that you felt like was the game changer for helping the song break?
Yeah, well, that was easy, man. Identifying the trend, and it wasn't a trend at all yet. It was just something that I knew could be a trend. You know what I mean? I understood what a trend was, which is simply a piece of content that users will want to copy. They'll want to repeat it, and it's easily repeatable. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't take another creator very much time to recreate this. You know what I mean? Like, so a trend has to be, that has to be easy to recreate. And it has to be something that people will see and want to recreate. And so as soon as I saw that, you know, I went into action. And then also just, well, that's really the answer to your question. The answer to your question is identifying the opportunity for a trend. That was the key because the trend is what broke the record. You know what I mean? The record was already doing extremely well, but the trend is what spread it across the world in a matter of weeks, days, really.
Right. And what were people doing to the opening? What were people creating videos to when
Yeah,
they?
it was literally just a compilation of you and your significant other. Some people did it
Okay.
with their kids, just a compilation of you and somebody you loved. And so you're just taking your videos and put them together. And so, like I said, I reached out to influential people. A lot of them did it. The ones who didn't do it, we took footage of them off the internet and made it ourselves. We just did whatever we had to do to continue that trend and bolster that trend until the world was doing it. Once the world was doing it, we started working on the next trend. And we ended up doing about 3, 4 trends to grow it as large as we did.
And those are some dope insights. And that's, yeah, definitely. I'm glad you're here to spread the game to the
Yeah.
people. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit, man, and just ask you, because I know what NPR and one percenters is, right? So I wanted to get from you, what is NPR and one percenters to you, and why'd you get into, or why'd you establish those things, and coming from you, so people can better understand.
Okay, so I started with one percenters. In 2020, I started sort of educating online. My initial idea and thought process was I wanted to do classes in Atlanta, maybe like either a weekly or a monthly class where I could have like maybe 50 people come and take a class to learn about streaming. But this, literally the pandemic happened and it forced me to make an online version of it instead of an in-person version of it, which ended up being the biggest blessing because I reached so many more people and it also was so much more profitable. You know what I mean? Like it was just insanely profitable. And so it started off like that. Um, but once I sort of reached a certain amount of people, I realized that the disconnect was, even though they had took the training, what they really were looking for was a sort of personal mentorship and management. The courses are really good, but if you're not following them up with somebody that's holding you accountable, like that's what mentors do. They teach you and they hold you accountable. And so some years into it, I realized like, okay, a better way to do this would be to create sort of a community, and everybody in that community will have access to me to be able to ask me questions, to be able to, okay, I saw the course, but what did you mean by this? Or I saw the course and I applied it and now I'm here. So how can I get to the next level? And so basically I created the 1% to be able to have a much closer relationship than just you taking an online course from me. Because I recognize that a lot of people took the course and they felt empowered, but they still felt lost. Like they felt like, okay, I know the knowledge, but I just don't know what to do with this knowledge. And so I just saw like the opportunity for mentorship and the lack of it. And so that's why I created the 1%. It's a community where I get on and, talk to you guys every single week. And also I create classes so that you guys can have that course structure, but also be able to talk to me. And so that's what the 1% is. It's a community. NPR, I started NPR honestly because I realized that the knowledge I had at the moment was kind of second to none. I had the knowledge, the relationships. I had everything I needed to be able to break more artists. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to start a company and I'm going to do that. And so that's why I started NPR, just because I was literally just in the right position with the right knowledge. And I said, okay, let me take this and start another imprint and run this imprint. So NPR is a distribution company. And our main focus was content. Like, we didn't hire A&R staff, we hired a content staff. And so we've signed our first artist, MUNI Long, and solely really focus on her content. I focus on A&R with her in the background, but our main focus was content. And so that's what NPR was or is. It's a distribution company centered around content creation. And so that's what NPR is. And we partner with artists and, we do everything we can to break them.
Perfect. Well put. I mean, so I recommend you guys check out NPR and 1%ers. If you guys want to, get some game straight from, a really brilliant mind when it comes to, music business, entrepreneurial stuff. I mean, definitely highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
recommend the book too.
oh yeah, the book. Yeah, for sure.
So 10 Artist Commandments. I would recommend this. And let me just say, the reason that I wrote the book is because in that same phase of realizing, like, man, okay, people really need something more than just a course, I also realized there were a lot of people who couldn't afford the course. And so a book is the best and most cost-effective way to get this knowledge, because a book is only $20 and everybody has $20. And so it's the same knowledge that I talk on the mentorships. It's the same knowledge in the course, but now it's in the form of a book, so it's affordable to everybody. So that's what 10 Artist Commandments is.
There you have it. Another extension of J.R. McKee through was it a Amazon best-selling book?
Yeah, number one. Yeah.
There you go. Another number one. Yeah, I mean, well, things are, we're getting a little strapped for time, but I wanted to get off one more question, if you don't mind. I wanted just to kind of pick your brain when it comes to maybe when you look back at your career, what was your biggest mistake? And maybe you can, give us some insight on that, and maybe the people listening can learn from you and take things from there.
I mean, my biggest mistake is, I would say from an entrepreneurial standpoint, it took me entirely too long to recognize where the value in music was. I didn't even realize the business I was in. And luckily, I was an entrepreneur before I got in the music business. So I understood ownership, but I didn't understand the value of that ownership. And so understanding that this is the catalog business, the entire business is based off, do you own the masters or do you own the publishing? Owning one of those two. That's the key in the game to this business. And so I came into this business just thinking, okay, I find an artist, I break an artist, we make a ton of money. But I didn't realize that I didn't understand the assets of the business. The assets is your catalog, whether that be the masters or the publishing. That is the asset of the business. And the third asset that you can you can make is a brand. And so I just didn't understand those things. And so it took me way too long to understand those. And by the time I did understand them, I was able to capitalize on them. But I just look back at the 13 years before that, like, man, I missed a lot of opportunities. And so just understanding the business that I was in, I didn't understand it for like the first 13 years I was in it.
So you were busy, hands-on, getting things done, but there were
Yeah.
still some key things that you might have
Yeah.
overlooked.
Yeah. There were definitely some key things that I overlooked that I didn't take advantage of. It's kind of like, playing a sport without necessarily knowing the rules. You can be really talented at it and get real, or let's say not the rules, the fundamentals. You
Mhm.
can be really talented at it and get very far, but you can't win the championship. And so, in my eyes, I didn't start winning championships until I understood the fundamentals of the business.
Well, there you have it. I mean, I think that's a great way to end the chat that we the great chat that we've been having. Again, totally appreciate the time because I know you got a lot of things going on. So yeah, once again, thanks, JR. Appreciate it. You guys, or if you guys are, wanting to check out more of what JR has to offer in terms of insights, mentorship, make sure you go check out the One Percenters community. Check out NPR, and then he got the book that's out. And what's the name of the book again?
And Artist Commandments. And you can go to my Instagram, jrmckee.co. And all of this stuff is in the bio. So all the ways to contact me are in the bio. So just jrmckee.co. The book is in the bio. One Percenters is in the bio. I do one-on-one calls in the bio, depending on when you watch this, because that could go away in the near future. But just always stay tapped into my bio. It'll always have everything I have going on at the moment.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Again, thanks again. I appreciate it, JR.
So,
Appreciate the
thank you
time.
for having me, man. Congrats.
Look, if you're serious about taking your music career to the next level, you really need to work with an experienced team that has gotten real results for real artists. At Best of the Next, we've helped hundreds of artists gain new listeners, new fans, and even generate income from selling music plus merch directly to their supporters. So if you want to learn more, visit us at bestofthenext.com today.